Morning fellas, Ben back again. Working on the Sherpa. Have dismantled everything. Pulled out the engine mounting bolts. And would you look at that? Look at all the corrosion. Surprising. Only on one side. The other side is totally fine. Nothing wrong with it. The other side is... Where is it? There you go. A longer one. Super clean, no problems. Absolutely nothing going on here. But, well, this side was a shocker. All that corrosion. Don't know why, don't know how, but then, yeah, water contamination, man. Bloody bike is just 4,000 something kilometers old, and one nice long trip in rain, but nothing else. And there you go. Corrosion starting to set in. I'll have to figure a way out. Lubricate the whole thing, shove tightly pack grease into this so that I don't have any kind of contamination, at least moving forward. Whatever is done is done. I'll try and clean that up to my best ability. Yeah, so the whole idea behind today's video is I'm going to be swapping out these hoses, these radiator hoses. 1 second guys, let me show to you what I mean. So this is Samco Sport from Malaysia. And Samco Sport is, I believe, a UK based company, and they make some good crazy radiator hoses. And whatever gets done in Thailand, Malaysia or China is usually an opportunity for the locals to replicate them and do a good job at that. So there we go. We have a silicone hose which is at least 10 times more stronger than that piece of shit. This thing has given up many a times in my motorcycles in the past, and many a times they leak. You never know when they leak, when they start leaking. And I've had all kinds of issues because of that. Coolant contamination, starting with coolant contamination to coolant leaking everywhere, and then all kinds of nonsense. This isn't a foolproof thing like how it seems, especially on motorcycles that are built to a budget. You can never really know how good these things are going to be. Yeah, the bends don't match, the angles, the bends don't match, so I'll try and figure it out. To whatever ability I can make it match, I will make it match. Predominantly, your intention, what you need to keep in mind is that these things don't run close to the exhaust pipe. And somehow, beautifully, the engineers of the Himalayan or the Himalayan 450, they've seen to it that both these hoses run on one side of the motorcycle. There's also another unit that is on this side. It's on the top. Unlike the conventional radiators with the radiator cap, filling cap on welded onto the one side of the radiator, the Himalayan uses a different method. There's a hose, and the hose runs onto a fill cap, and it is to be filled until the brim, until about here. One more thing to keep in mind, fellas. Some time ago, that is few years ago, when I swapped out my radiator hose on another machine, I put in a regular hose clamp here, and that bloody thing leaked even more than this. This seems like a funny system, but this has better engineering, I guess. This is like constant tension, not constant, variating tension clamps, unlike the regular hose clamps. Regular hose clamps, is there one on this machine? No, you'll not find the regular hose clamp on modern day machines now. For that matter, you don't find, there you go, that's another type of hose clamp, slightly different from this. But this, I think, is any given day better than the regular hose clamp which you, oh, there you go, that's the regular hose clamp that we're talking about. This one, fellas. This one, not to be used on anything that expands and contracts. You need a constant pressure hose clamp to be applied to something which is not going to expand and contract. Where there is expansion and contraction involved, you need a hose clamp like that. So this thing is very different from this. This has that hand built look and feel to it. You can see the strands being wrapped around the silicone hose, and then maybe a nice protective coating on top. with the Samco Sport. I don't know if the camera can pick this up. The Samco Sport logo. We'll clean this up, we'll put this back on. Why did I take the trouble of pulling out? I'll tell you why. For you to swap out the coolant, you will need to access this bolt over here, the one with the copper washer. You'll have to open this up so that the coolant leaks. You'll have to open up the cap so that there's enough pressure in the system for all the coolant to come out. And for you to access this, you need, oh God, I'll have to move the exhaust also now. The exhaust is in a bit of a tricky position, the bolts. I'll have to move the radiator to move the exhaust. I thought I would just get rid of the bash plate and the leg guard or the engine guard on one side so that I have good access to this, but even this seems like a really nasty job. It's going to spill all over, but we'll see what we can do. We'll try and get as much of the coolant out as possible just so that I can swap out these two clamps, these two hoses. Well, that's the coolant that I've collected from the motorcycle and pulled out the hose. As you can see, that's the condition of the hose. This thing looks like a slightly better quality than what I used to have earlier in my machines, liquid cold fillers. Slightly better quality. Then again, I know these things give up. These things give up when you really don't want them to give up. That's the worst part. And you end up thinking that the coolant is leaking from somewhere else. It's usually right over here, or sometimes they crack over here. Yep, so I'm going to be matching this bend here like that and using so much of this for the upper hose. Then we look into what we can do for the bottom one. Well, got done with the job but ran into some problems. As usual, when you modify, the word modify means trouble. Unless they are a bolt-on part, straight swap. Even bolt-on straight swaps need a little bit of a know-how. You need to know how much is how good, I keep saying. So the thing is, these are compression clamps, these fellas. These are, they're springs basically. It's nothing but a spring. And this went on here and there, but it couldn't climb over that bump. The bump that you see, this thing couldn't climb over that. So now I'll have to maybe chop this stopper off, that stopper, and so that I can compress this even more, make it big enough for it to slide through. And on this side, it's the same deal. Pretty hard to get it through that. Yeah, so that's the problem. Another thing is this is soft rubber. So the way this clamp squeezes this rubber versus the way this clamp squeezes that silicone coat on top, a little bit of a question mark there. I'm not really sure if this is going to do. It's going to be enough. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if coolant starts oozing out from there and there. If that's the case, I'll have to go in with a regular hose clamp and tighten it to a point where it's a snug fit. I'll give this a try first, run the machine, and if it starts leaking, the coolant starts leaking, I'll immediately go ahead with a regular hose clamp. Well, that's that for now. Looks that way. Okay, fellas. Managed to put the factory hose clamps back on. Except here, couldn't get this to sit, so got myself a hose clamp, a regular hose clamp, but very high quality stainless steel, not going to rust and rot, and got that done. That does it. Now to put back things, bolt on. Going to be putting the bolt on the other side as well. Yeah, so scuffed it, applied some grease over it. Did not pack the insides with greases because the insides has a lot of muck. Then clean it now. I'll clean it some other day. After maybe a long ride to Ladakh and back. And so yeah, that's how it looks from the side. Cool, ain't it? Yeah. And one thing that I need you to know is when you have drained coolant from here, just clean this area completely, put back the bolt, tighten it to 10 Newton meters. 10 to 12 Newton meters is the spec. I'll keep that to 10 Newton meters. Max, that's enough. There's a copper washer, crush washer, so that should do it. 10 Newton meters, and then or a hand tighten quarter to half a turn. Open this up, start filling it, bring it to the brim, and then let the machine idle for some time, 1 minute or so, 1 to 5 minutes or so. And then once the vehicle cools down, only when it cools down, open this up and see, top it up if necessary. So yeah, that's 60 Newton meters on this side, 45 Newton meters on that side, and that would be about 10 Newton meters. And then you put back everything just like how it was. Yeah, I had to remove this whole thing to get this out, and a lot of work. Anyways, when you enjoy it without complaining. As simple as that. We'll get done with the whole thing, put back the machine, and then get back to you guys. Well, all done. Filled up the radiator and ran the motorcycle for about the problem with this design, the cap being here, is you'll have to put in the tank, run the machine for some time, remove the tank, then check again. I had to do this twice to get to almost brim on the radiator, and then that is where my level is at the moment. I ended up losing the quantity that I've ended up losing is almost nothing. I would have lost about 20 mils at best, nothing more, or 30 mils. Even 30 mils is all right. I haven't really lost a lot of coolant. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, if you do a good job, if you do a neat job of collecting the coolant from over here and not letting it spill, you can use it. And if you know how to not contaminate it, like if you carry it in a clean container and use the right equipment to put things back together. I mean, I used a simple I used one part of the Samco hose to access the cap, because I mean this funnel that I have wasn't cutting it, so I had to use the Samco hose itself to go into the radiator cap over there, and that's how I poured in the collected coolant. And with this, only this was enough, just the funnel was enough, the reservoir. Yep, so that's the job done, if you guys can see. I also ran the machine for about 5 minutes. No leaks anywhere. Super happy. No leaks, no visible leaks. We'll wait for some more time and then see maybe one nice power packed ride, I should say, whether this has worked or not. And this is an aftermarket fake product. This isn't the Samco Sport original product. And I don't take any responsibility if you guys run into any problems. I've had some experience with this, so I'm going ahead with swapping it out. Well, this was on my Yamaha R15 long time ago, and from that back to the Himalayan 450 after almost how many years? 12 years, I guess. 13 years later, I have this back on my 450. Yeah, nice and warm. The coolant is running through this good, nice and warm there. This is not yet warm anyways, so we'll wait and see. Yeah, so job done. We'll call it quits for today, and then we'll connect back on something more interesting, more exciting. I'm building this to be the best 450, at least in my experience. I can guarantee you guys that this is going to become a machine unlike any other, just like Ben. This will also become a fantastic motorcycle in some time. So I'm going slow, not in a hurry. Everybody seems to be in a hurry. Everybody seems to be about bolt-on butts and try whatever they can just to get some views, some attention. And surprising that now people have so much money at their disposal that they just want to get. They'll do anything and everything to get attention. That isn't the case with me. I build machines for myself. I don't build machines for the sake of the channel or the views and this and that. This is for me. This is because I love this machine, and this is because I'm going to hold on to these two machines for as long as I can. For as long as I can. And if I get another machine, I would only get it because I want to hold on to it. No, I work slightly differently. Any which way. So if this helped in any which way, it helped. Ben signing out for now. Ciao.